And I'm worried that after, I don't know how many generations and 230 years of American history, we stand on the precipice of being the first generation to hand to our children, unlike every previous generation that gave to their kids and their grandkids a better country with a higher standard of living and a better quality of life. We stand on the precipice of the first generation that's going to hand to our children a country with fewer opportunities, fewer jobs, more debt, fewer freedoms. And we can do something. In the United States of America, we don't have to put up with second best. We should be challenging ourselves to continue to be the best. And we can hand a country to our children that's better than the one that we had. But what we need to do is make certain that we have a federal government that doesn't spend money that it's not bringing in. Make sure that we are adopting pro-growth economic policies that will put people back to work, and hand to our children a government that's paid for, not one that's in debt. And that's the one that we have today.
As an incumbent, what kind of lessons have you learned that you believe you can apply to another term?
Well, I think it's important that you've got to do a couple of things. Number one, any representative in any district, and this is the way I try to represent my district in Bucks County and Montgomery County. Number one, be a good listener. You need to spend a lot of time home in your district, meeting with your constituents, listening to their challenges and the problems that they have, that they're dealing with in their businesses and with their families. We spend in any month probably 3 weeks in the nation's capital, 1 week back home. As soon as the last vote is over in Washington, I'm on the first train back to Philadelphia, back to Bucks County, because frankly, I'm honored to be a member of the United States Congress. I like doing the job because I'm in a position where I can help a lot of people. I much prefer to be back home. It's where my family lives. It's where my constituents are. Get back home. I attend a lot of events back home in my district, nights and on the weekends, including the type of business visits that we talked about earlier. Get the chance to interact with the people who've given you the confidence to represent them and listen to what their challenges are. So number one, be a good listener. Number two, work hard for them. I work a lot of hours. I'm proud to be able to do that with my 6 children. What I do on the nights and weekends, I take a couple of the kids with me, put them in the back of the van, and drive around Bucks County attending events. So you have to stay in close touch with your constituents. And then finally, number 3, once you've been a good listener and you've understood the challenges and opportunities that your constituents are dealing with every day, take all that knowledge, go back down to the nation's capital, and be an independent voice for them on the floor of the House. Cast good votes for them. Votes that are not good for the Republican Party, not good for the Democrat Party, but good for your constituents and good for our country, for the United States of America.
Take about a minute and contrast yourself with your opponent in this race, Democrat Kathy Boockvar.
Right. Very, very nice woman, running for the right reasons, I'm certain. There's a very clear distinction between where she and the current administration want to take the country versus where I would like to take the country in a different direction. The current administration and Ms. Boockvar, want a federal government that spends more, that taxes more, that creates more government programs, and that basically takes the place of a private individual and a private individual's responsibility, or a small business's ability to operate in the private sector, and supplant the federal government or a bigger government's role, whether it's in the government takeover of health care, the government growing bigger in any particular government program. I believe in a smaller federal government that spends less and taxes less, is smarter in the way it regulates, and relies more on the individual and the small business. Those individuals and organizations that made this country great in the first place. I believe it was free markets and free enterprise that made the United States of America the great country that it has been. And that's what will keep us great and make us great in the future. So the distinction between my opponent and myself is a philosophy that believes in the government. Ms. Boockvar wants, as I said, higher taxes, more government spending, and a bigger federal government with greater control over our lives. And I believe in a smaller government that has greater faith in the individual and the small business.
We only have about a minute left, so please use that time and tell our viewers why they should vote for you.
Well, First, Larry, let me say thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate the chance to speak with you and through you directly to the constituents of the 8th Congressional District. I'm a lifelong resident of Bucks County. My wife Kathy and I are raising our 6 children in the same neighborhood where we grew up. They're attending the same schools that we attended as children. We love our community. We've worked hard, not just to raise a family there, but along the way to do what we can to improve our community, to make sure, as I said earlier, we've got affordable houses, safe neighborhoods, good schools, and a condition where small businesses can succeed and economic opportunity and growth will occur, and hopefully where our children will want to settle in, raise their families in, because ultimately that kind of stability is what adds strength to a community. It's what makes a community, and it's the kind of community that Kathy and I want to leave to our children. So that's why, Kathy supports me and my efforts to, to be involved, not just as a professional in the practice of law, as I've spent 20 years, but spending some time in public service as well.
Mike Fitzpatrick, Republican for Pennsylvania's 8th Congressional District, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.